Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Robo Celestial here with a new video for you. Welcome to What If Deku Was a Dragon Slayer. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. If you want to hit me, you will have to be faster than that. Koda looked at the fiery teen confused for a moment. He wondered how he moved so fast. However, Koda quickly got over his shock and got even angrier. He stormed in a huff and muttered, "Stupid heroes." This video is sponsored by NordVPN. Staying safe online is an ever-growing difficulty, and hackers could exploit you. NordVPN allows you to change your IP address, making you harder to track, securing your privacy, in addition to providing you with safe passage through the web. You can also expand the reach of your favorite streaming services. Are you tired of going through 2, 3, or even 4 streaming services to watch your favorite anime? Well, with NordVPN, you can change your country and be able to binge shows like My Hero Academia, Naruto, and many others on your favorite streaming service with just a press of a button. Check out the link in the description to get 72% off when buying for 2 years divided by $3.29 a month. This deal is for a limited time, and thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. After that, the students were all taken to a dining room and served a massive meal. The Pussycats told the group to enjoy the service, because the students would be responsible for making their own meals in the days to come. Finally, the students went to get a bath. It turned out the boys' and girls' baths were separated by a high wall. This obstacle was no match for one Minru Mainta. The short teen tried to use his quirk to climb the wall. The pervy teen was stopped by Midoriya. The Dragon Slayers grabbed the small boy by the shoulders and told him to behave himself. Kaminari then backed his friend up by telling the small boy that he would get the wrong attention from the girls if he kept acting that way. The next morning, Urza Scarlet woke her students up before the sun rose. Today, your training begins in earnest. The armored woman then tossed a softball to Bakugo. Give that a toss, Bakugo. Just like before, all of the students knew what this action meant. Urza wanted them to check their progress. All of the students figured Bakugo's throw would be even more ridiculous than before. You want my best, teacher? Then that is what you will get. Bakugo pulled back with all his might and threw the ball while shouting, "Go to hell." A reading came onto Urza's phone and she said, that was 707 meters. The class was surprised by this result. None of them could understand how Bakugo could have made such little progress with everything they had been through. Make no mistake, you all have improved since coming to UA. However, those improvements have basically been to your stamina and the technical applications of your powers. Your powers themselves have not changed on a fundamental level. Such changes normally happen as you grow, but we do not have time for that. This training camp will force you to use your powers at a new level. This process will make you feel like you're dying. I hope you are prepared. While the students of 1A were freaked out by Urza's statement, the crimson-haired hero was glad to see that none of them were backing down. All of the members of 1A had come to UA to become true heroes. None of them were going to be scared away by a little hard work. Urza gave a serious glance to her students. The Pussycats will be giving you the training regiments I have laid out for each of you. She then pointed out the Dragon Slayers, Midoriya, Marvel, and Kaminari. I have something different in mind for you 3. Follow me. The 3 students followed Urza in the woods. After a short walk, they came to a cave on the mountainside. Standing outside the cave was Laxus Dreyer. Kaminari was the first to speak. Master Dreyer, what are you doing here? I am here to help out with your training, if you want to call it that. Midoriya was concerned by Laxus's words. What does he mean by that, Master Scarlet? I will explain shortly. But first, it is time that you 3 knew the truth about your powers and the enemy we face. Wendy responded in a concerned tone. What do you mean, masters? Listen closely. You 3 have been told how you got your magic powers, but that story is a more simplified version of events. Me, the other masters, and Wendy come from a country called Fiora on a world called Earthland. Midoriya and Kaminari looked at Wendy with a confused look. The 2 did not know what to say. Wendy was even more concerned than the boys. The skinny girl responded to Urza with a panicked tone. That can't be a true master. I remember my childhood and my parents. I remember growing up and being found by Lucy and Natsu. Allow me to explain. Your masters told you how Dragon Slayers and magic came to be, but that was the story of how Earthland came to be. All of the magic users on this world came from Earthland. This all happened because of an ancient evil from our world called Ignologia. He was a human who was empowered by the dragons to fight against other dragons. The problem was that Ignologia was too good at it. He killed so many dragons that he became the most powerful being on Earthland. He also gained the ability to transform into a dragon by bathing in the blood of the dragons he killed. It was Kaminari's turn to respond. Okay, that sounds gross, But what does that have to do with us? This guy would have to be dead by now, right? Laxus walked over and hit Kaminari in the head. Quiet down and listen. Do you think we would be explaining this if he was? As I was saying, Acknowledge also gained the lifespan of a dragon, which can be ridiculously long by human standards. The villain's only goal was to destroy the world. That is where we came in. Me and your masters all belong to a wizard guild, kind of like a hero agency in our world, called Fairy Tale. We came into direct conflict with Acknowledge. I am afraid to say that our battle failed, and our world was destroyed. But you are all here, master. You see, after several battles with the monster, we lost many of our friends and allies. It took one last effort to defeat Acknowledge. We teamed up with a powerful wizard called Zareth and his minions to accomplish the goal. We were going to do this by using a powerful magical gate to open a portal to a realm called the Void. It is a place of nothingness. We figured that would give us some time to find a way to defeat Acknowledge. But the Dark Dragon did something we didn't expect. He used his power and the power of the gate and then destroyed the world. A huge flash of white light overtook us and we woke up here in this world. But that doesn't explain how come I don't remember any of this. Wendy, during the final battle, you were beaten badly. During the fight, we thought you were dead. If I had to guess, you probably don't remember because you died as the flash overtook us. The process that brought us here probably caused you to be reborn into this world, but with your magic intact. But what about me and Kaminari? And Stain was using magic too. Stain is still a mystery. He was not from our world. There was a Shadow Dragon Slayer, but he looked nothing like Stain. The man also fell in an early battle against Acknowledge. We also don't know how you two got magic powers, but we don't plan on looking a gift horse in the mouth. It is our plan to train you three to help us face this ancient evil. Where is this guy now? We have not been able to locate him for such a powerful force. Acknowledge has always been good at staying hidden until he wishes to be seen. I fear we would only leave ourselves vulnerable to attack if we focused on trying to find him. What do you want from us, masters? Kaminari nodded in agreement with his green-haired friend. Urza held out her hands. With a flash of light, a suitcase appeared in them in a flash. The red-haired teacher opened the case. Inside were 3 glass orbs filled with swirling energy. In the center of the energy was a dragon head symbol. Midoriya responded in a quizzical tone. Those look like the sphere that Natsu gave me during the sport festival. Yeah, you gave me one of those too, Master Laxus. Before the finals, those were normal magic lacrime. Those orbs were just for replacing the magic power you two had depleted. Of course, this process is not to be done repeatedly. These are dragon lacrime. We managed to create these with the help of our surviving allies from the final battle. We plan on implanting these into the 3 of you. This process should make you 3 much stronger. However, this process will not be easy. It will be very painful. The 3 teens looked at each other and made a silent agreement. Let's do it. If this will let us get stronger, then of course we will do it. Okay, let's get started. The 2 masters and the 3 students walked into the cave and the process began. Urza chanted a spell over the magic orbs. The 3 objects levitated into the air and flew at the 3 teens. The orbs then transformed into a thick energy and infused itself into the teens. A moment passed and nothing happened. The teens thought they were in the clear. But then the pain came. The teens felt as if their bodies were being ripped apart from the inside. Their magic surged to levels that they thought were impossible. This is how the next 30 hours went. Little did the younglings know that they were going to need every bit of power for the struggles ahead. After 32 tortuous hours in the cave, the dragon lacrima fully absorbed into the 3 Dragon Slayer teens. Laxus left at some point during the process. The 3 youths were too consumed in pain to remember why the scar-faced man left. After the whole process, the last thing the 3 remembered was the voice of Urza Scarlet. Well done, you 3. I thought the process would have taken at least 3 days. But you have surprised me again. Relax now, young ones. You have all earned it. The crimson-haired knight spoke in her usual stern tone, but all 3 could swear they heard a tone of pride in her voice. After the pain from absorbing the lacrima had fried their brains. After hearing this praise from their master, the 3 youths passed out completely. Urza spoke out toward the cave opening. Could you take care of them for me? I have to tend to the other students. A male voice spoke to Urza. Of course, darling. I will take them back to their cabins to rest for the day. I will also keep watch over them while they sleep. Even here we cannot be too careful. After all, these 3 may be our best hope for defeating him. A tall man walked into the cave and stood beside Urza. The man had short-cut blue hair and a tattoo on the right side of his face. I don't like the idea of forcing these young ones to fight our battles for us. They should not have to bear the burden of our failures. Don't forget, Urza. They will not be fighting alone. We will be there to support them. Also, it is not just our fight. If our enemy has his way, then this world will be destroyed the same as ours was. We cannot let that happen again. True, but it still makes me uneasy. Urza then turned and gave the blue-haired man a loving gaze. However, I am glad that we are back together, if even for a short while. Jello. The woman wrapped her arms around the man in a fierce hug. So am I, Urza. Jello then returned the embrace. The two broke their hug. Urza left the cave first to return to the other 1A students. Jello then waved his hand through the air. The limp bodies of the teens levitated into the air. The three hovering forms then followed Jello as he left the cave. Elsewhere, Shigaraki sat at the bar in his hideout enjoying a drink. Kurogiri noticed that his master looked unusually happy today. Master, are you all right? You seem out of character today. I am fine, Kurogiri. I have just realized how narrow my sight has been. How so, master? I was so focused on destroying All Might that I missed the big picture. Even if I destroyed that smiling jerk, his legacy would remain. The Hero Society. All of those smiling civilians, and those little punks who foiled my plans, were all inspired by All Might. So have you decided not to destroy the #1 hero? Not at all. I just think that it would be more fun to destroy his legacy in front of his eyes. Oh, to see the despair on his face. Only once he realizes that all of his hard work was for naught. Then, and only then, will I end his ridiculous life once and for all. Is that where this team of new recruits comes in? Before, I tried to overwhelm All Might and the heroes with numbers. It wasn't a bad idea. But all of the villains I employed were super weak. I now see that to take down the Hero Society I will need heavy hitters. That is where the Vanguard Action Squad comes in. If they achieve their mission, good. If they fail or members die or are captured, then I know I will need to get stronger pieces. You plan on using them as cannon fodder. Do you really think I am that heartless? We are teammates working toward the same goal. I would never belittle their importance, but I am the player. And this is my game. And no matter what game you're playing, some pieces will need to be sacrificed. I can't wait to see how they handle themselves. This should be entertaining. At yet another hideout, the villain acknowledges sat in the dark. The monstrous man held a lacrima in his hand. The orb was Balk in color and glowed with a sinister red light. So it seems that All for One's apprentice is making his move. Good. That will give me the cover I need to make my plan happen. A huge grin broke out across the disturbed man's face. The first part of my plan is complete. I have the first item. It was easier to get than I imagined. All I need to do is get the other item. Fortunately, I have found it. The jaxed man shoved the lacrima into his chest. The glass orb vanished into the broad chest of the ancient monster. He then stood up and walked toward the door. Before I get the other item, let me go and try out this new power of mine. Shigaraki's assault team should be gathering outside of the camp for their attack. That will be the perfect cover for my test. Acknowledger walked out into an empty alleyway. The man started to glow with a sinister black aura. The man then took off into the sky like a rocket. Back at the camp, the three Dragon Slayer youths were fast asleep. Jello had taken Wendy back to the girls' cabin. The small girl was being watched over by Lucy, who had been recruited by Urza to help with the training camp. The blue-haired man had then taken both Midoriya and Kaminari to the boys' cabin and was watching over them himself. Kaminari laid in this bed, jerking back and forth in his sleep. It was clear that the yellow-haired boy was having an awful dream. Suddenly the teen started talking in sleep. No, no, no. Look out. The young man then sat bolt upright in his bunk and shouted, "Fishsticks." After a moment, the boy calmed down and looked around the room. The boy was wondering where he was. From the bed across from him a voice replied in a somber tone, "Do you mind keeping it down, Kaminari? My head is killing me, not to mention the rest of me." Midoriya. How did we get here? I imagine that guy brought us here. Midoriya pointed to Jello, who was seated in a chair between the two boys' beds. You're both awake. That is good. I expected you to be out for longer. Urza said you were resilient, but this is something else. Not to be rude, mister, but who are you? Midoriya. The hero fanboy broke in. He is the heavenly hero Alterus, but I have no idea what he's doing here. Midoriya is correct. This is my hero name, but you two can call me Jello. As for your question, Kaminari, I brought you two back to the boys' cabin after you finished assimilating the dragon lacrima. Jello noticed that Midoriya was getting a worried look on his face. Don't fear, Midoriya. Wendy is fine. I took her to the girls' cabin to rest. She is being watched over by Lucy Heartfilia. Oh, that is good. Jello nodded. As I was saying, I brought you here because Urza Scarlet asked me to. Just then the door to the cabin opened. Urza Scarlet walked into the room. Well, I see that both of you are awake. That is good to see. Urza turned to Jello. The armored woman had a tender look in her eyes as she spoke. Thank you for looking after them, Jello. Midoriya spoke up at this point. So, master, how do you know Alterus? I know him, Midoriya, because he is my husband. The tall woman said matter-of-factly. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. with the services Skillshare provides. You can get access to many in-depth tutorial videos on basically anything you want to learn. Each class that they have is bound to help you with your creative endeavors. Do you want to learn how to make videos like this one? Do you learn how to write scripts or edit audio? Skillshare has you covered, and with our link, you can have a 14-day free trial. So what are you waiting for? Click the link now and get 14 days worth of classes free. Link in description below. Both boys' minds were blown. Neither boy would have called Urza unattractive. Quite the opposite, actually. However, the idea that the stern woman was married was a total shock. Midoriya was very familiar with Altaris. While the man was not as popular as someone like All Might or even Urza, he still had a strong following. The man was also a capable hero. Standing in the same room as the man, Midoriya now knew that the man was also a wizard. While all of that information was impressive, it all paled in comparison to the fact that he was married to a hero like Titania. Kaminari got a goofy look on his face. The boy thought to himself that Jello must be a true superhuman to survive living with a woman like Urza. Urza saw the idiotic look on the bold-haired boy's face. The crimson-haired knight pointed her gauntleted hand at Kaminari. You are thinking something unseemly, aren't you, Kaminari? Stop that right now and remove that ridiculous look from your face. Kaminari replied in a panicked voice. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. Now, do you two think you can rejoin your classmates? They have been hard at work. Both boys nodded to the teacher. Both were still feeling very drained from their time in the cave. However, after hearing the story that Urza and Laxus told them, the two knew that they needed to get much stronger. Master, how is Wendy doing? She is doing fine. The girl was as eager to get back to training as you two. In fact, she and Lucy have already joined the others. Then we should get going. Right, get changed, both of you. Urza turned to her husband. Jello, when they are ready, you can put what we discussed into action. Of course, my dear. You can always count on me. After the boys got changed, Jello led the two to join their classmates. When the two boys walked up on their classmates, they saw that the members of 1A were indeed hard at work. Each one of their classmates was involved in a different type of training to improve their powers. Several members of 1A saw Midoriya and Kaminari approaching. A small group of students, including Yaoyorozu, Ashido, Uraraka, and Aoyama, led by Wendy, ran up to the two boys. They asked if the two boys were all right. The dragon teens answered that they were, and that they were ready to start training. As the group interacted, Laxus came up to the group. The man spoke in a firm tone. Hey, who told you five you could stop training? The 1A group all freaked out at the sound of the man's voice. Kaminari knew that tone well. The man had used that very voice during his training as a wizard. The blonde understood why his friends all shrinked from his former master. The man could be seriously scary. The man with the bolt scar looked at the students with a demanding glower. Wendy and the group turned to return to their training. Laxus then replied, Not you, Marvel. Huh, what did I do, sir? You three are coming with me. Jello, take my place and keep these younglings on task. Of course, Laxus. I wish you luck. Don't be soft on these kids. If you do, Urza will not let you hear the end of it. No need for the warning, Laxus. I know that better than anyone. The Electric Master and the Dragon Slayer youths walk a short distance away. Midoriya was the first to speak up. What do we do first, Master? We are ready to go all out. Good to hear. Now that you three have been charged with Dragon Mana, I am going to teach you how to use Dragon Force. But before that, I want you three to get accustomed to your new power. To do that, we are going to have a fight. Laxus threw off his large fur coat and attacked the three youths. The teens were able to dodge the tall man's strike. Good to see that you three still have your agility. I am impressed that you three recovered this quickly. The three thanked the lighting master for the compliment. Okay, follow me. We need some more room for this training. We do not want your classmates to be on the wrong end of the fight. The group walked to a clearing in the woods a long way from the camp. Laxus then started the fight again. The youths found that their movements were faster, their sense keener, their strike more powerful. It took some getting used to say the least. Many hours later, Laxus had exhausted the teens. All three were laying on the ground breathing heavily. Wendy and Izuku now had a greater respect for Kaminari. The idea that the electric teen had endured years of training like this was mind-shattering. No wonder Kaminari was as strong as he was. I am impressed by you three. Urza did not lie about your strength, but you still have a ways to go. Catch your breaths and head to dinner. You have all earned a good meal. Meanwhile, a group of fearsome villains were gathering outside of the camp. A skinny patch-faced man spoke. Looks like we are only missing 2 members. Once they arrive and night falls, we will execute the plan. The large man wearing a cloak and mask replied to the dark-haired man with a gravelly voice full of irritation. Come on already. I just want to rage. Let me off the chain already. A young girl with a crazy look in her eyes came up to the group. What a plan, what a plan. I get to cut people. I want to start now too. No chance. Shigaraki told us his plan. I think it is a good one. We wait for the others and then we attack. The thin man mused to himself for a moment. You know, at first I thought Shigaraki was all talk. He was also way too hot-tempered. But look at him now. He gathered this elite assault group and came up with a great plan of attack. Now it is up to us to carry out the plan. Back in the campgrounds, the young wizards joined their classmates at the fire pits. The members of 1A were glad to see that their classmates were okay.